Hello, listeners, and welcome to a brand new program where we examine the birth charts of celebrities, sports figures, and politicians to find out what really makes them tick. I'm Donna Saul with astrologer Francis Dunnery, and you are listening to Behind the Curtain. Many of you know Francis Dunnery as a chart-topping musician who toured with some of the biggest names in music history. He's a music producer. He's fronted his own band, and he's toured the world writing songs, playing music, and performing in front of hundreds of thousands of people. But what you might not know is the power of his astrology readings, and his expertise has been deeply influenced by top psychologists, philosophers, mythological perspectives, and Eastern philosophies. You can book him at francisdunneryastro.com or at moonstoneandsage.com. Today we're going to be talking about not only the skies that we're living under, because you can tell me why I am so cranky, Francis, but also about Kanye West. But we'll get into that in a minute. Hi, good morning.
How are you doing, Donna? What's going on?
Doing perfectly fine.
What's happening in that world of yours?
I know. It's a little small room that I'm sitting in talking to you.
You don't realize we all have our own world, you know. We go around and you don't realize. Like, see them people on the street, like as you walk down the street, everybody's got like they've got their whole thing going on, and they all have these private fears with their Saturnian things. They all have their hopes and dreams. And they're all different, and they're all walking around. You don't realize it, but you just see people on the street.
Yeah.
But there's a whole thing going on, like a whole invisible world going on.
Yeah, kind of like germs. You know, you touch a doorknob, and it looks like a doorknob, but really there's a whole ecosystem on it.
It's like that. It's like that, like germs, yeah. But see, you've got your, like, you come on to me, you say, well, you know, I'm a bit cranky, and I'm blah, 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 blah.
I know, I've been terrible recently.
Well, you know, there's a few reasons for that, but what are you, the Scorpio are you supposed to be? That's you just being yourself.
Yeah, it's called Tuesday, right?
Yeah, Tuesday, yeah. And so, so, you know, we have these whole things going on. Also, the moon is happening right now. Do you know about the moon?
Yeah, moon in Taurus, right?
I'll tell you what's a weird thing, though. Like, if you go to the beach, this is a deep thing. If you sit on the beach, there's a weird kind of hypnosis you can get into just listening to the beach. Have you noticed there's hardly any fights or arguments on the beach? Yeah. It's very rare. Because it reminds us of the womb. So we're sitting in there, and that whole kind of symbolic, just that whole thing that's just going on like that, we just sit and we're mesmerized by it. And it kind of makes us feel like passive, and we're just chilled out. We're just doing that. The moon's the same thing. If you go and just look at the moon, there's a weird thing that happens to you. If you just sit, imagine how it was, like going back all them years for the cavemen and all that, just looking at that. Like, what on earth is that? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And we don't realize it, so we're locked in this kind of hypnosis thing with the moon, having the experience of it, and of course when the magnets start to pull with the tides and stuff like that, we can feel it. And so, actually, they say that, I don't know if this is true, I'm just going to make this, I'm not making it up, I've heard this, but they say that some surgeons won't operate on a full moon because we bleed more.
No way. That's so strange.
I don't know if that's true. Maybe somebody can fact check me on that, but that's the deal. But I'm sure we do. I mean, because if the gravitational pull, which I think is a real thing, it's not an astrological thing. Right. You can see what's happening with the tides.
Now, if the moon is sitting in Taurus, is the moon amplifying what is Taurus? Or how do they work together? Well, you know, it depends. Listen, there's a million different ways that people do astrology. There's lots of different ways they do it. But let's say if the moon's in Taurus, in a sense of going down the river with the moon, it means if you want to get on board with the moon, it's a good time for self-reliance. It's a good time for getting stuff. It's a good time to buy stuff. It's a good time to earn money. It's a good time to look for a job. It's a good time to be self-reliant, because Taurus is the symbol of when the seed comes out of the ground. In Aries, the seed, on the first day of spring, the seed goes, I'm going up. And the seed goes up and it smashes everything out of the road, like what Aries do, with absolutely no regard for anyone or anything. It just smashes everything around. And then it comes up, and the plant then, this is Taurus, then it looks to see what resources it has. Am I in good soil? Do I have enough water? Like, what have I got to work with? And that's what Taurus is always doing. What have I got to work with? And so when the moon's in Taurus, it's a good time for everybody to know that that's what's going on in the sky. That is on your side. If you go looking for what you've got to work with, that's on your side. That's like
going down river. Like you're not going up river. So with the full moon in Taurus, the full moon, they say, is a time of, the height of blossoming, whatever. The first moon, whatever it's, it's too. I don't even want to get into it. It's too complex to talk about. I get bored real fast. So some things you can't, look. You've got to be. You have to just be honest. We're on the radio, and people like some things are just not sound bites. And the whole concept of the moon isn't a sound bite. So if I start on that, you'll be here in like 4 days and going, excuse me.
No, I have Eric, because he's going to tell me in 3 minutes that we're going to be out of time. So,
all right.
Yeah. Not everybody has an Eric, but I do.
The great leader. Eric, the great leader. That's what anybody out there called Eric, it means you're or Erica, it means you're the great leader, like the strong leader.
He is not disagreeing with you. He is the boss Eric. Of me in this studio, so there's that. And he relishes the role. He relishes.
I'm actually quite surprised. I've never seen anybody push a Scorpio woman around before like that.
Only if we allow it, right?
Right? Yeah. Exactly.
That's it. My ex-husband used to say I was like having a Doberman on a leash. He only lived because I let him. I thought that was rather harsh, but I can't also argue it,
Did you see that thing I sent you last week on Joni Mitchell, what she said about Bob Dylan?
I did, and I totally understand where she's coming from. You know what?
It was
and that's
such
the problem.
A takedown, though.
Well, that's the problem with, I think, Scorpio, and I can only speak from that because that's what I am. But you say things that are just the fact of the fact, right? It's just, this is the observation, this is what it is. You're not looking at how it's landing and what the content of it really is until you see the reaction from the other person, and then you go, maybe walk that back.
The ability to know that. See, Scorpios, the first thing Scorpios do is find your weak points. They have to, because they can't be vulnerable. So as long as they won't use them against you. They will, if you mess with them, but they're not finding them so that to nail you. They're finding them because they can't be vulnerable. They need to know. This is why if I'm doing a reading with Scorpios, if I'm talking with, or just even hanging out with Scorpios, I always make a point to let them know, like things about myself where they can nail me up. They won't do it. They absolutely won't do it. And especially with someone like myself, because you don't know this, Donna. You actually don't know this, but my Venus is in Scorpio, and it's going to be very difficult for you to dislike me. You
kept saying that, and I think I have found that to be true. I can't really dislike
I could say stuff to you that you would go berserk if somebody else said it. But
100%.
Because what happens is when somebody's Venus sits on your sun like that, it means that through that person you meet the gods like Aphrodite and Venus, and they're all pleasant gods. They're the bringer of nice things. Yeah. And so in the Scorpionic sense, you'll find me to have the qualities that you would find agreeable.
Interesting.
Some people find me highly offensive because why are you digging under me like else? The air signs don't like me. The air signs are kind of, why do you want to know that? You know what I mean? It's like they're like that. But the Scorpios, the Scorpio especially, are kind of like, and especially because I'll tell you I'll tell you things about myself and so I'm a sitting duck. If you want to nail me up, I'm there.
Yeah, but I don't think everybody does that. I mean, I think that, with Scorpio, you're also hugely intuitive, so you see who someone is rather quickly. And it doesn't mean you're going to announce that to the world. You just see who someone is, and you see their strengths and their weaknesses almost instantly.
But don't the other signs are not doing that. That's what I'm saying. That's what Scorpio does. Scorpio finds your weak points. That's the first thing they're doing. They're trying to find out where you're BSing them.
Interesting.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Eric, what's your sign?
Shouting of you.
Libra.
What's Eric?
Okay, so what's a Libra do? Let's pick on him for a while.
They're just, Libra men are just contrarians. They're always like, if you say yes, they just say no. There's two types of Libras. There's the one that try to keep you happy all the time. The women tend to do that. They'll just yes you to death, and you can't really trust them to tell you the truth because they won't. They'll just say what's nice and what's going to keep everything all right. You know what I mean? Even though they'll be furious after it. See, Libra needs Aries in order to have two wings. Libra's only one wing. The other wing is Aries. So they need to learn how to be more direct, just as Aries needs to learn how to be more negotiable. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
But a Libran man, he's like that John Lennon energy. That snide kind of... Eric thinks he's smarter than the pair of us put together. He thinks he's better than us and all that. That's how Libran men are. They're kind of like...
He's shaking his head, yes.
No, I just find it just interesting, really interesting.
He is a funny dude. Yeah, he is a little snide in his humor. I will say that.
He's snide.
Funny.
He's probably very clever. And he's probably he's probably sociably adept, and he knows how to, he's all that stuff.
Yeah.
All the Libran thing. The Librans are very much like that. But ultimately speaking, Donna, whether we like it or not, Eric thinks he's smarter than the pair of us, and he thinks somewhere we're idiots for talking about this stuff. That's what most Libran men do.
That's great. He is still shaking his head, Francis, so I'm just going to let you know that.
Is what?
He's just shaking his head, yes, so I'm going to let you know that, Sometimes he forgets he's talking out loud.
with the contrarian Libran energy, it's like that John Lennon thing. If you say yes, he'll just say no.
That was a song, right?
Things up.
That was a song. Wasn't that lyrics? Eric, you're good at that. Wasn't that lyrics? You say yes, I say no?
Yeah.
Some song?
For the Beatles, yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, John Lennon probably wrote it.
Yeah, probably.
And so, if you're nice to him, he'll be horrible to you. And if you're horrible to him, he'll be nice to you.
Wow. Is that right? He's shaking his head yes. You do not seem that guy. Holy cow.
Oh, no, I'm not agreeing. I'm just taking it all in.
I see.
No, he's not agreeing. He's just yesing us to death because he thinks we're stupid. That's all right. Eric, it's
processing all of this. Processing. Hearing it for the first time.
No, he's not.
You're just thinking me and Donna are idiots. I can sense it from here.
All right, we're going to take a break, and we're going to hear from our sponsors. When we come back, we're going to be talking about Kanye West. He's an American rapper, songwriter, and record producer. He's described, I gotta say this with a straight face, as one of the greatest rappers of all times and one of the most prominent figures in hip-hop. He's known for his varying musical style, polarizing cultural and political commentary. Well, that much is true. So we're going to take a break here from our sponsors. You're listening to Behind the Curtain. We're going to be right back. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Behind the Curtain, where we rip people to shreds astrologically. I love it. I'm Donna Saul with Francis Dunnery, and we are talking this week about Kanye West. You know what I find interesting, Francis, of all the people we've covered so far, and I know we've only done a couple, but after the talk astrologically about them, you can 100% see that in them. It changes your perspective on who you're looking at and how you're, I don't want to say judging, but how you're evaluating them as human beings. So Kanye is polarizing.
I don't know whether it's true or not. I'm just saying what their chart is. I can't, if people know them, they could probably, or know things about them, they could probably give you a better insight than I can. But I'm just going what's on their chart.
Yeah.
And I trust that more than most people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. What makes him so annoying? So annoying. And I mean, he has a CD that's supposedly coming out that is just so racist.
He's such an interesting man, though. He really is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like such a weird mixture of things. Like, first of all, his moon's in Pisces. So let me tell you, Robert Plant has the moon in Pisces. When I used to hang out with Robert, when I was in Robert's band, we would get into the astrology of it. But one of the things that Pisces is, I want you. This might be a little long-winded, but I'll try. Imagine that we all walk around on an ocean. Imagine we're walking on the ocean, and underneath the ocean is all the ideas of the world. Every so often, somebody appears like a lighthouse and can pull information from they have a tap directly into that information. And so when they talk, because they've stuck a pipe into the information of what the world's already thinking, and all of a sudden they start to talk that information, and everybody in the world agrees with it. It happened with Hitler in just after the First World War, when they kind of carved Germany up. Mm-hmm. And they kind of took, they punished Germany, they did all this thing. There was an unrest underneath because the Germans, just like now you can't say things about certain people now, the Germans had that going on after the First World War, and so they couldn't say certain things, but it was underneath in that ocean that I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. So the collective psychology and psyche of the Germans felt that way. And as soon as the lighthouse came out, Hitler came out and started to talk that stuff. That's why it caught fire.
Interesting.
Robert Plant said something in one of his songs back with Led Zeppelin that nobody even really knows what it means, but it triggered the collective flower power that was underneath there. He said, someone told me there's a girl out there with love in her eyes and flowers in her hair.
Yeah.
And that line was how everybody had, that was what they were all hoping for. The hope of the world was underneath that generation. That we could all get together and love each other and, that whole thing. But that line there, he came out and he said what was underneath. And that's why so oftentimes you get people, or even Bob Dylan, Bob Dylan would say certain things, or there's certain people who come and they express what's underneath. Kanye has got the same thing. He's got to tap into that world. So people, he's on the spectrum. People said he's on the spectrum. But his moon is incredibly intuitive. Like he's psychic almost, Kanye. And this isn't the part that you're going to see. This is his feminine. He's such a kind of gentle, compassionate, collective person. Like he's not that thing that you see. That's not, you see his bravado, you see his Saturn in Leo. His insecurities, like, because when he boasts about himself, and I'll get to that in a second. But his moon, his feminine, is incredibly delicate and intuitive, and he can pick things up in the air. He's like psychic. He can pick things up in the air that's going on, and also he might flirt between reality and non-reality with that. Like if you imagine a boat is like an ego, and he's sailing on his boat. Every now and then he falls off into the ocean, into that collective madness. So that's what it is with Kanye. His moon falls off into madness, and he's no longer contained by the boxes that we put ourselves in. I'm a priest. I'm a policeman. I'm one of these. I go to work. I have 3 days a week. We do this. We go to the gym. He's not in those boxes. They're all ego boxes. They're all made up. There's two worlds going on all the time. There's always two worlds. There's the social world, which we made up. Like the Pope is made up.
Yeah.
That isn't really a Pope. We just made that up. In the ego world, and he's got all that power in the ego world. I'm the Pope. You know what I mean? But there isn't really such thing as a Pope. There's no such. And then there's the natural world where we have a natural identity. Sometimes those two worlds collide. Sometimes people do jobs that's got nothing to do with their natural identity, and they live their life miserable because they're not being themselves. They're not being authentic. Sometimes people get to be themselves, their natural self, and get paid for it. That's what I always try to do when I talk to my astrological clients. I always try to make sure that they can try to get paid for who they are rather than a job. Kanye drifts between them two worlds. So on one of them, he's like, he's in this, it wouldn't make sense to anybody. It would just seem like pure madness. He would seem like he was a lunatic, but he's not. He's got to tap into that other world. But when people look at him, it's like what Nietzsche said. He said, and those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those that couldn't hear the music. Like if you just watch people dancing with no music, it's like, what are they doing?
Right.
So people can't hear Kanye's music.
So
understand?
I do. So basically, when he says what we consider to be these quote unquote stupid things, they're not necessarily stupid to him because
they're definitely not stupid to him. He knows why he's saying it.
But we don't know why he's saying it. But then what we see is that bravado side, and that's what causes, I don't know, what's the word, the juxtaposition between he's an idiot, or he's a racist, or he's this and that.
Not an idiot.
Because you don't have that middle ground where he's actually a quote-unquote normal person by the boxes that the rest of us are living in, right?
He's not in them boxes for definite.
Right.
That's for sure. Like we're conditioned early on, even when we go to school, we're conditioned.
Yeah, how to behave, what to say, what's acceptable.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
He won't deal with that.
It must be harder for him then, because just thinking as you're talking, like it must be harder for someone who lives in that universe, for want of a better word, that you're describing, to fit into the world that the rest of us have to fit into, whether we like it or not. I mean, we can choose not to and then, come up against all of the problems that will cause. But it's really pretty fascinating. I mean, I see him now in a different way. I still find him annoying and I hate his music, but I can see all those things that you're talking about him.
But this is what you don't see. This is what nobody will have the conversation about. He's incredibly sensitive, the guy. I bet about his kids and everything like that. He's watching like his kids grow up in the Kardashian world, and he doesn't want them to grow up like that. He can see what it is. They've already got all this, but and he's also he's got Uranus in the 5th house. His eternal child is not going to grow up, and he's creatively brilliant. He has got that about him. Like he defines his difference. By he's creatively brilliant. He's also a Gemini with Jupiter in Gemini, so he's got the things he says. People will always listen to, and they'll listen to with hope as well. Like he'll give people hope. Like he'll give the Jupiter thing. He's an optimist. It's like an optimistic spirit there. Right. Again, I know I'm running out of time, so I want to get through to his shadow in a second. Okay. He's got Mars and Venus in Taurus, which means that like he's heavily slanted towards his finances, and what we just talked about looking for what resources you've got on the last segment. Yeah. He's looking for that all the time, so he won't do anything unless it's got that in it. If he's not going to get paid, he just won't do it. That's what he's doing, right? He won't. And now here's the thing that you don't like about him. Also, first of all, he's got Pluto in the 4th house, which means that his father's probably left him. He hasn't got a father. He's probably at odds with his father. I would say, I don't know this. Maybe somebody can help me out. His father probably left him, which statistically is something. But on a personal scale, there's definitely he's frightened of his father. Like his father's terrifying to him. There's an element of terror to his father here. And I don't know his story, but even personally, he'll have a terror of his father. But the real interesting thing behind the curtain, which what you wouldn't know about him, is that he's terrified of poverty. Absolutely terrified of poverty, because he doesn't think he's enough. And this is the bravado you see. This is what you don't like about him. It's actually a defense mechanism, because he has to tell himself somewhere. He's got Saturn in Leo, which means a kid that can't see his own shine. He just can't see himself. He can't see how great. He actually can't see how great he is, so he has to lie and pretend he can, because he can't. He actually can't. Like he's like a little boy who doesn't know his own importance.
And that's why he runs
around.
Go ahead,
he's a screaming narcissist. So it's like, and we wait, it's like I've said this to you before, but we wait for an audience to clap to feel good about ourselves, but the audience only claps when we feel good about ourselves. And that and because it's in the 2nd house, in his house of finances, this is somebody who has no self-worth, and somebody who doesn't value his own self. Whatever, like when we are frightened of poverty or frightened, we're actually talking about ourselves. So being fear, having a fear of having no money is a declaration of our lack of worth for ourselves. We don't feel we're worth anything. We don't think, and he, like, believe it or not, he doesn't think he's worth anything. So and that's why, again, I'm trying to be really fast. It's hard to do it in such a short time, but you see that moon that he's got, that incredibly sensitive moon. He's brittle. Like he's delicate. That's a word. That's a word for him. He's so delicate, and this is why you'll see him respond. Like if you even touch one of his sores, you'll see him go off, and you'll see him rant every now and then. And having no worth, and then having to deal with it, with how delicate he is. With that, he's got his mouth. He can run his mouth. He's got his Gemini thing. He can talk till he's blue in the face. He's got all that stuff, the rap, the blah blah. That's not really what's interesting about him. What's interesting about him is his moon, which is so delicate, and that Saturn in the 2nd house, which has no self-worth. Which for someone like him, it doesn't matter how many times you say to him, how many times you say to this guy, "You're amazing, you're blood." It just doesn't get it. He doesn't understand. As soon as somebody says anything about him wrong, then his sensitivities get triggered.
So where do you think? Yeah, it does. So where do you think this? And I am curious about this latest attempt at music, in terms of the racist attitude that he has. Do you think that he's to the point where, because the money issue, it's never enough, right? And he does it just to be not exploitive, but the word is. He
likes to be shocking.
Yeah, because to generate the income. To be worth it, to get some self-esteem out of it, because he thinks people will talk about him regardless.
Well, the wild stuff, he's got that. He's got that thing that is. we talked about Donald Trump on the first show that we did, and we talked about him being a disruptor and his need to just to say things outside of the box.
Yeah.
Go against the system. Kanye's the same. He's got Uranus in the 5th house. He's got that same energy. He's got like a disruptor energy, but he's very he's going to say stuff that people in the boxes are just going to be like, what? They're kind of going to be absolutely outraged. But it doesn't stop him from saying it.
No.
You know what I mean? Because that's what he's doing. But and it will contribute to his money, and it probably will contribute to all the other things. But in of itself, that energy is quite brilliant, actually.
Yeah.
I don't listen to his music at all like that, but his chart. I mean, if I didn't know this guy or anything like that, I would just say this is this is some guy who's actually quite unique. Unique, to put it mildly. Mm-hmm. He's definitely a one-off, this guy, and he's not playing by the rules that we're playing to. Put it that way.
I love it. I love this show. Thank you, Francis. We're out of time. I know it speeds by, right? But we are out of time.
It's hard to get these get a good.
Well, I think we do pretty good. I mean, like you said, how much can you talk about one person, right? We'd have to add another person, but we could do that. All right. Well, we're done. So thank you, Francis Dunnery. If you'd like to book an astrology reading at Francis, you can book him at francisdunneryastro.com, or you can book him at moonstoneandsage.com. And we're going to be back here next week. We don't know who we'll be talking to. If you have any suggestions, please let us know. You've been listening to Behind the Curtain on 95.3 WCHE. Thanks.